Welcome back to another episode of Motogp Mac, and today we're going to talk about a recent interview that Alberto Puig gave, talking about the Honda situation, Marc Marquez and Joan Mir. So firstly, people asked him about the current situation within Honda, and he said, "We're not in a good moment. We have 3 injured riders. Let's face it, the problems that we've been having and dealing with have been going on for a few years, but it's not possible to change things overnight. It's very clear that we are failing to find a solution. We are trying, and we can only continue to do so." Then he was also asked about when does he think Honda will start seeing the light again? Would it be around the Misano tests? And he said, "From my experience, when you're so far behind, you can't fix everything in a couple of months. It's just not that easy. Sure, if you don't try, you may not know, but we can't be too optimistic. We have to find a point that still eludes us." Then he was asked about if he believes Marc Marquez will continue to ride for Honda in 2024, and he said, "I have to say yes because there's a signed contract. But each person is free to do what he wants. Honda isn't a company that keeps riders reluctantly. We have respect for Marc, but I do not have a crystal ball." Then he was asked about an update on Mir, and he said, "What I know is that due to the hand injury that he sustained in Mugello, he doesn't have the strength to drive on fast circuits like these two. This has been the main problem. Again, we respected his choice. We do not force our riders to race. All I know is that we will see him again at Silverstone." Then, probably one of the difficult questions he was asked was, why are the Japanese struggling so much? And he said, "The European manufacturers have been very aggressive. They've taken risks by accepting their mistakes. The Japanese are more conservative mentally. They need to change their approach and be more aggressive. It is very difficult for them." He was then asked about, is there a lack of communication between the track and what's going on track and HRC in Japan? He said, "Japan is very far away, but we on the track are aware of what's happening. But I don't know, and I can't say for sure, if the information going back to Japan accurately reflects the reality. In Honda, they have a lot of experience, but with the current regulations, a different attitude is needed. However, the results are there for everyone to see." He was then asked about what was the main mistake that led Honda into this situation. And he said, "We can talk about mistakes because now we are in the shit. But we've done good things in the past too," trying to be cheeky. With COVID pandemic in 2020, Marc's injury, things went downhill. We were unable to develop the bike as in the past. We lost first 0.2 of a second, then 0.4 of a second, then up to a full second. It's several coincidences that have brought us to this point. He was then asked directly about the concession system and could that be a lifeline for Honda? And he said, "We've never talked about it, and the regulations do not depend on us. Out of principle, I say that we have to make a better bike, not waiting for someone to help us." He was also asked about KTM taking engineers from Ducati, and would this be something that Honda would do the same? And he said, "I don't know what they think, but they have been building good bikes for a long time. And if they're here in MotoGP, it is because they want to win." Now, I will be very honest, and I normally don't believe a word out of Pooch's mouth, to be frankly honest, but I do think he gave us some insights into what is really going on in HRC, and I have mentioned this a couple of times. So firstly, we do know the European manufacturers are very much more aggressive, very much more willing to try something on the fly and see if it works. Honda are conservative. There is definitely a communication block between what is going on in the track and what is going on in the boardroom and senior levels within HRC. And thirdly, I think, when you look at it, Honda's three main riders now are injured. Do you know what I mean? And yes, Taka is doing a great job, but you know, three of the ones that Honda really depended on to develop the bike are now out. One is definitely out for long term with Rins and the broken tib and fib. Mir, I think he has lost his way completely on the bike and he can't find a direction. And genuinely, I believe Marc has somewhat already checked out and said, you know, if you're going to give me a shit bike, I'm not going to ride it to the absolute maximum. But I would definitely love to know your thought. What do you think of Puig's comments? Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video.